Look at that. Yeah, guys, that whole doing the right thing is foolishness, right? Because, guys, the right thing is the right thing for you. There's no bunk beds in a coffin, guys, you know?
Yeah.
A recent appellate court case that could help paternity fraud victims is causing friction between two county agencies in Los Angeles.
One wants the case taken off the books. The other says to do so would be a serious abuse of power.
As Fox 6's Sherry Palmieri reports, at the center of all this are men just like the one that you're about to meet.
I was happy. I graduated from boot camp. I mean, I felt like, I could take the world,
To add to the excitement, Marco Becerra's ex-girlfriend showed up for the celebration and wanted to get back together.
During that weekend, we decided that we were going to get married.
2 weeks later,
idiot
told me that she was pregnant.
Right around the time she had the
2 weeks later, yeah, right.
She decided.
Yeah, right, guys. Yeah, she just happened to get pregnant. She just happened to just magically show up.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
baby. Marco was deployed, and that became the beginning of the end.
Me being away for 6 months was too much for her, and she wanted a divorce.
A couple years later, Marco
got him, right? Got him. This guy's an idiot, man. Look at that. Red Door, what's going on, my friend?
got a phone call from his ex-wife's boyfriend, who she had just broken up with.
He was advising me to pretty much take a DNA test because my ex-wife confessed to him that, in fact, I wasn't the father.
The DNA.
Hey, you know what? Good on him. You know, on friggin' Gerardo, the other guy. You know what? Because that's what a lot of men do. You know,
he's like, I want no part of this.
Yeah, but but also a lot of men can't sit back and watch injustice. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want a homeboy here to have to go through this. That's wrong. You know?
DNA test came back with a 0% chance Marco is the father.
Look at that, guys. Damn.
I was very devastated that, for almost 4 years, I thought he was my son, and all of a sudden he's not.
But because Marco didn't...
In snowboard, what did these chicks say? Well, it's still yours. You're just going to leave him? It's still yours. You can still take care of him. You can still be the father. Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Find out until
guys,
it's the ultimate betrayal. And it's the ultimate betrayal to the kid, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, it's not just a social and social economic thing. It's a medical issue, too. Guys, what if the kid needs a kidney or a bone marrow transplant or whatever? You know what I'm saying? And you're not the father. Come on, man.
The child was 3. He missed the 2-year deadline to contest he's not the father.
Oh, no!
Now he's locked into paying support until the child is at least 18 years old. For Marco, who has remarried and now has an 18-month-old of his own, losing the money he has to pay has financially crippled his own family.
This has put in a big burden into my family and myself. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for my father, who has actually been supporting my family and myself financially, I probably would have got discharged from the military for financial burn.
In June, an appeals court overturned a judgment involving paternity fraud, calling it unjust. Marco jumped on the opportunity to cite the case called Navarro to finally have his case heard.
I was happy, when I heard about that case, because yes.
Do you think California is gonna stop his child support order? You guys think California?
No way.
Come on, man.
It's not only going to help my case, but it's going to help many others like us. I'm not alone.
Come on, dude. No, it's not.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
No, it's not.
There's thousands of men out there who are going through the same thing that I am.
Recently, Los Angeles Child Support Services has filed paperwork to depublish the Navarro case, prompting the Los Angeles Public Defender's Office to come out fighting for the case to stay.
This is abuse of honest, decent people by public officials. They know these men are not the father.
Michael Judge is the chief public defender for the County of Los Angeles. He says he can't think of a single valid reason a public official would want to depublish Navarro.
The Court of Appeal.
Because of money. Money, 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 money,
Yeah.
money, 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 money. You know what I'm saying?
denounced these public officials for doing this. So I just wonder, are they more interested in hiding the fact and sweeping under the rug the fact that they have been severely castigated for this outrageous abuse?
LA Child Support Services did not respond to our request for an interview, but in an earlier interview on this topic, Director Philip Browning defended the agency's stance.
We think that the appeal court made a decision not based on the laws as they exist in California.
He went on to say,
It's not up to us to write the laws. It's up to us to enforce the laws. We're trying to make sure the laws that we're enforcing are on the books.
but Judge says that's nonsense.
The Child Support Enforcement Fairness Action of 2000 has directed these public officials that it is their moral, legal, and ethical obligation
Look at that,
in
guys.
all these situations to set aside these judgments that are entered against people who are not, in fact, the fathers.
Meanwhile, Marco's case has been put on hold until the court reviews whether or not Navarro should be depublished, leaving him frustrated and desperate for help.
To the congressman and to actually the senators out there, please help us. I mean, this has to stop. You know, this is something that affects all men and children all across the nation. I beg them to help us.
In Mission Village, Sherry Palmieri, Fox 6 News.
Cooked. Here's another one, guys.
Right. First of all, as concisely as you can,
Wow.
tell the story. And when it is, you began to question whether your daughter, Janae, was actually yours.
Well, last year I came back from a trip from New York and I was pretty exhausted on a Friday, February of last year, and I had to drive to Houston from San Antonio to her birthday party. And I had this feeling in my head, this notion that my daughter was not my child, and it bothered me. So when I got home, I explained it to my wife, and I kind of got teary-eyed. I cried.
And of course, guys, well, once he brought it up, what do you think she said?
How dare you?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And
What a joke.
it did cause a little pain. I just didn't know what it was. The thought was that she was not my child, so she just said, "Well, you're tired." And so I waited.
That's such a
I did make
woman.
the-
Take a nap.
But then I
Yeah.
waited a week and talked to my ex, and she confirmed that she was my child, and I put it under.
Now, guys, that feeling in your stomach, guys, that's just something, it's like built into us. That doubt that that kid is yours. Can you imagine living with
Yeah.
that? Jessica, what's up, dude? Dante, what's up, man? Solomon Grundy, what's going on, my friend?
Covers. I put an end to it. But 2 weeks later, my mother came to visit and asked me the same question from a rumor that took place on my sister's job where my ex worked. And then when I had my daughters for spring break, I took her to get a DNA test, and
And he found out.
You tell her she's a goddamn whore.
Look at
sure
that.
enough, it confirmed what I had already knew, and it was shown to me before I even got to the lab.
Let me stop you there. How is it you were able? How did you explain this to your daughter that you were going in to have DNA testing? That
Now watch her paint him as the
Defending, yeah.
victimizer. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
must have been really tough.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about the way I had to do it.
And
had
pause
to
it for a
sort through which
second.
was
No,
fortunate
it's
for
not
me
tough.
because I had to.
It's not tough. Those kids want to know who their dad is. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be a tough thing. It's a little bit strange, but notice how in any of these conversations they never say like anything about the kid.
Nope,
The kids,
never.
like they should want to know who, like this shouldn't even be come up in conversation. So it's a
Yep.
little awkward to ask them, but I would want to know who my blood was.
Yeah,
That's
true.
you know,
But
it should
even-
be like a birthright.
But just for medical reasons, for practical reasons.
Yeah.
Guys, you should know if there's a history of heart disease, hypertension, cancer, all the stuff in your family. And if that's not your dad, you're never going to know.
Take her to the doctor, which I would normally do anyway if anything is wrong with them. So I said, well, we need to go take a test before we go to the doctor to check on your throat. And she was okay with it. And when she looks back on it, she knew that I had to do that to confirm the feelings that she had as a child growing up, looking at my hair, my nose, my skin.
Damn, so even she knew there's something wrong in Denmark. Damn.
Color and how different she was from everybody else.
Tell me a little bit about the spectrum of emotions that you experienced through this. I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah. Any man would be upset. My first thought was to get payback, but I'm over that. It's been painful for my children, my family, but there are other people that are not really concerned about my child's life. I've been at risk with her when I had my visitation for 9 years. And if something would have happened to her, I wouldn't have been able to, at the hospital, to give her any kind of blood or tissue or anything.
See? Yep. See? Right there.
Yep.
Right there. These women are demons, man.
Yeah.
Demons. Because, like I said, I'm not religious, so I use the term demonic as something that's like beyond evil. You can't even like quantify it, right? Like it's so evil that there's no other word than demonic, you know? So
one final question for you. What is your advice to other people who may go through this very same scenario?
Try not to deal with it emotionally. Paternity fraud is much deeper than just a genetic code of revealing a child and a father or who the biological father is. But the best interest of the child is not the child support or mother support. It's the life of the child.
Yep.
For medical history, for their paternal families. And in this case, I don't know who her biological dad's family is and her background, their background or whatnot, but I'm fighting for my daughter's life. If something was to happen to her, I cannot help her. And that's a big concern. It has nothing to do with child support.
Right.
But one of the laws, none of the states require the mothers to disclose who the true father is.
Isn't that crazy, guys?
Insane.
You know? Guys, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. You guys remember this case? Talk about demons, guys. Guys, we have 74 people watching. We have 62 likes, guys. Thanks for that, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to hit the like button.
County woman accused of falsifying drug screenings and paternity tests, which
falsifying drug screenings and paternity tests.
That's messed up.
Imagine that you do your time. Okay, let's just say you were snorting some Oxycontin. You get clean. You're trying to do well. You're on probation. You got to do weekly UAs, and this chick just eeny meeny decipeenies your your drug test. And then all of a sudden,
she provided to the Department of Human Resources, wanted by law enforcement, and new tonight she is behind bars. Multiple agencies investigating this case that we're told could have resulted in many child custody cases being affected. News 18 morning anchor Tanya Pruitt has details.
Owner of an Ozark-based lab collection company is in hot water and under investigation for allegedly giving fake records to the Dale County Department of Human Resources. Sergeant Cody Evans with the Ozark PD said police found out about the forgeries after getting tipped off by an unnamed doctor in Florida.
We received a complaint from a doctor's office in the Florida area advising that they believe their documents have been being forged.
According to the Ozark PD, 36-year-old Brandy Murrah of Clopton allegedly falsified paternity test and drug test screenings. On May 2nd, the Ozark Police Department launched an investigation and began looking into the allegation against Murrah's company, A&J Lab Collections. According to the Ozark Police Department, this could have been going on for the past few months and is possible that other jurisdictions were affected. A source telling News 18 that if the allegations are true, several children may have been wrongfully taken from their families by the Ozark judicial system.
What?
Murrow also allegedly pocketed money by keeping testing lab fees for herself.
Of course she
did.
did.
Disappointing, that the trust is taken away from the people that trust in DHR and the court services to get it right. So unfortunately, it's very unfortunate for the family families that's been affected by this. But we assure you that we're working on making sure we make that right.
A warrant has been placed for her arrest and felony charges are expected. However, the investigation is still in progress and more charges are pending.
What a
Keeping
mess.
it local in Ozark, Tanya
Wow.
Pruitt, WDHN News 18.
And again, like we said, new tonight, Murrah, under her previous last name Williams, was convicted on 5 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card in Houston County in 2013.
And they gave her this job.
Ended in a
Yep.
guilty plea, resulting in
Pyro.
Because it was an affirmative action hire, I almost guarantee it. That's why they're not showing her.
Yep, guys, Jamaica is like the paternity fraud capital of the world. I think it's like over 50% of kids are not the man's. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'll try and find an article on it.
Let her get the man she laid down with to pay for. He goes free. I never even slept with her.
Look at that.
It's happening to men across Michigan. They are being forced to pay child support as dads by default.
Doesn't matter. If the men can prove the children are not theirs, Michigan law makes them pay anyway.
But tonight, 7 Action News reporter Kim Russell tells us that may be about to change.
Most people think you either have to adopt or conceive a baby to become legally responsible for a child. Under Michigan law, that is simply not how it works.
I was the father by default.
These 4 men came to the 7 Action News studios to raise awareness. You could become dad by default. There are a couple ways it happens. Pastor Edward Mack says his previous wife had 3 children. He left them as his own. Then he realized 2 of them were not biologically his.
Not 1.
Oh my God.
But 2. Look at that.
And she was supposed to be a woman of the church as a pastor's wife. You know what happened? They passed her around.
Oh, look at that. Look at
And now it's his cross to bear.
Look at that, dude. Look at that, guys. You'll be here all night. Tip your waitress, right? Look Oh, no. They should call him Pastor got cut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You must have been so heartbroken.
Damn, it was a hurting thing. I don't even really want to talk about it because it brings tears to my eyes. Sorry for getting teary-eyed.
Pastor Mack says the betrayal led to divorce. He was shocked when the judge told him because he was married, he became dad by default. He had to pay support for another man's children.
Let her pay.
Right there, guys. Right there.
Wow.
No. I wonder.
And he's probably a good man too. Like,
Yeah.
It happens to people who kind of least deserve it. Well, Nug messes up so much, just runs amok, doing whatever he wants.
Watch. So this guy gets his. This guy. You guys remember him? Yeah, you guys remember friggin' Emperor Nug right here?
Tennessee has 30 children, and he's asking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His name is Desmond Hatchett. This is him up here. According to the LA Times, having 30 children with
He literally looks like R. Kelly.
Dude, there's a John Wick of smashing 304.
in Knox County, Tennessee.
I bet it is.
His youngest children are toddlers, and his oldest is 14. Currently has a minimum wage job, and that's his argument, and that it's hard to make ends meet with having to give 50% of his earnings to 11 different women.
Yeah, that's a lot of burgers to flip.
Among some of them, some of whom only get like $1.49 a month.
Well,
It's insanity.
as I mentioned earlier, you got to separate his actions, which are very, suspect, with these kids that need help, perhaps, with everyday stuff.
And the women's actions are suspect.
Yeah.
Too. Why would they all sleep with this guy? Why?
Shelter, clothing. So the child support probably would go to the kids, one would imagine. So it's hard, though, to give him a whole lot of sympathy because he didn't choose very well.
Agreeable with that. You don't want to let the kids fall through the cracks, but on the same token, there needs to be something to make sure that he doesn't have any more children until he can support them.
Right.
How do you do that? What can you do?
We're getting a lot of feedback on our Facebook page this morning, Jared.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback, not only on Facebook, but also on our website as well. We don't usually get a ton of comments on the website itself.
Until you talk about stuff
on
like
Facebook.
this.
We did get a couple on our website this morning. It's our morning talk, of course, and it certainly struck a nerve. And this is a funny one right here. Larry at the bottom says, is he saving up for a vasectomy? Maybe that's why he's going to do with the extra money. But anyways, going over to Facebook, a lot of people are kind of making light of this, but it is a serious matter. And I haven't found anyone appropriate. And I can hear our director, Rob, laughing in the back. I haven't found any appropriate comments about why he should get a break. But a lot of the people think that the state should kind of come in and take action here and say, hey, no more kids or do something about it. And that's
How do you do that? How, right? If they can't stop chicks from getting pregnant, or they can't stop chicks from having baby deletions, right? How can they stop a guy from friggin' finding irresponsible, knuckleheaded quiches and getting him pregnant, right?
The state needs to put a stop to this fun-loving and fix him. So so this is certainly an interesting comment because you don't want to get too overboard with the serious nature of it with the kids, because really the kids is what you're looking out for here, and that's what Melissa says. I don't think he deserves the break, but the children do. They shouldn't suffer because of their father's shortcomings. So we've got some interesting comments, some funnier than others, but in all seriousness, this is something to be aware of. And if you get a chance, you want to chime in on our—
Isn't it funny, guys, how more women have kids than men in the United States now? And more women than men of each generation are having sex than men, right? And then more women than men are in relationships, meaning that women are having kids by all the same men, they're sleeping with all the same men, and they're in relationships with all the same men. Isn't that crazy?
Let her get the man she laid down with to pay for him. He goes free.
I never even slept with her. I got a lawsuit when I was young.
Someone says, where have all the good men gone? They're busy working to pay for children that aren't theirs. Yep, that's true. Look at that, man. And they wonder why younger generations aren't getting married. And then what's crazy is you have girls that are in relationships of any kind saying that if a guy asks them for a DNA test,
how dare you?
Right?
Yeah.
Just said, that's the money I'm going to get. And she got it.
Reginald Whitlow, Anthony Sims, and Carnell Alexander have similar stories. They say women named them out of nowhere. In 2014, 7 Action News told Carnell's story and found the mother. She said she was told in order to get welfare benefits, she needed to name a father. She knew he wasn't the dad, but wrote down his name anyway.
Look at that, guys.
Wow.
I think it's my fault that I put him through.
Do you think that he should have to pay this money?
No, he shouldn't have to pay it at all.
Then these men.
The
streets.
I'm a bitch. Streets. I get the money. I get the money. Bitch, give me what you got.
Clown world. What the fuck is going on? Why do these daytime lives make me fucking swear so much? As I honestly try and keep my language clean, but you guys, the injustice that regularly happens to men, and the misandry, the gynocentrism of our society is just crazy, isn't it? Insane.
Men missed paternity hearings because they were either sick or did not receive notice. Carnell had proof. He was in prison when a process server claimed he was served at a house in Highland Park. When they didn't show up at court, a judge ruled them dads by default. They then missed their chance to challenge it with DNA evidence by the court deadline because they couldn't find the women and children.
They wouldn't give me her address.
So, guys, look at that. It's a 1-2 kick to the dick, right? Not only was he in jail, but then even if he would have asked for a DNA test, they don't disclose the address. Himself. Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was confidential.
These men all eventually got DNA tests backing their stories. too late.
Oftentimes, it does make a difference.
Representative Jim Runstead says those DNA tests should make a difference. The Republican from White Lake says he heard the story of Carnell Alexander on 7 Action News and decided to take action. He says this year he hopes to pass legislation that would protect men from being forced to pay for another man's children. Plus, women and process servers who lie should face stiff legal consequences.
This is wrong. Deceiving and lying and obligating people who are not supposed to be obligated to pay bills is wrong.
These men don't just want the law changed to protect others. They want compensation.
I'm getting garnished. I'm getting thrown in jail. I'm getting felony charges.
You have taken our lives.
You better move to Canada. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That law.
You better habla some Espanol. You know, move to Mexico.
Just across the water.
Representative Runstead says he has written
Michigan.
5 draft bills that aim to prevent such fraud, protecting both men and children. He says he plans to introduce them within the next month.
Yeah,
Tim
right.
Russell,
It didn't
7
pass.
Action News.
That ain't gonna happen.
A Dale County woman
It didn't
accused
pass.
of falsifying drug screenings.
Come on, guys. Let's do this real fast, guys. Thanks for being here during the day shift, man. That's gonna be the name, man. Thanks, Dante, for
Divorced dad was ordered to pay child support for a child who isn't his. He turned to our Target 8 investigators for help.
Man, you know, Asian reporter can get it, right? They
Yeah.
say, what Filipino? I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She's like all these babes. You get their pilot lit, they can suck start a leaf blower.
Oh yeah, Canada's worse for paying child support, but if you have child support that you're paying in the US, they can't get you if you live in Canada. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. You know? So
We uncovered it's perfectly legal for the state to order him to pay support for another man's child and to deny biological fathers who want to pay from doing so.
Yeah.
Target 8's Heather Walker exposes a law that's being called outrageous.
Joseph Shamilar is a divorced dad of 2. Not even 9 months after the split, Joe got some shocking news from his boys.
And they got in the car and they were bouncing up and down, telling me that mom has a new baby. And I said, well, is she babysitting?
there you go, because they weren't divorced yet. So by default, that kid is his, man. Look at that. Debastardization laws is what they call it.
Is she, is she looking after someone?
So you didn't think it was real?
No, I had no idea.
His ex-wife had given birth. She had gotten pregnant during their separation by another man.
Of course she did.
Legally, she was still married to Joe. Court papers clearly acknowledge the baby is not Joe's, but Albert Bush's, and that Bush had established a personal, financial, or custodial relationship with the child.
Right.
The court ordered medical expenses be split between the biological parents. But the Friday before Father's Day, Joe got a letter in the mail from friend of the court.
I thought, my God, this is hilarious. It's Father's Day weekend, and here's the biggest joke that I think I've ever had played on me transpiring right now.
The letter said he owed $8,500 in back child support
Whoa.
plus medical expenses for a baby his ex-wife had with another man.
So the court was asking you to pay for a child that's not yours.
Exactly.
I went to Ottawa County friend of the court office to get answers. How is it legal?
Yeah, man, she can get it, dude. How
Yeah.
you doing?
Their spokesperson
I give her the egg roll.
camera interview, but on the scheduled day changed his mind and would only answer our questions over the phone. He told us it didn't matter who the biological dad is, only what's in the best interest of the child.
Of course.
In other words, which one can take best care of the child financially. The court decided that was Joe.
Do you think this law needs to be changed in any way?
We went straight to the man who tried to fix the law, Senator Rick Jones.
I certainly would agree that if you're married to someone, they then run off and have a child by another man, that you should not have to pay child support. That seems a bit outrageous.
The original law was written back in 1956. It said if a child is born to a married woman, the biological dad has no legal rights. Last year, it was...
Now, guys, what kind of started in the 50s, in the 60s, guys?
A little thing called feminism.
I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore. Updated to allow husbands like Joe to fight financial responsibility.
What's the biggest problem with the law and the language, would you say?
It's not clearly drafted.
Melissa Drake is Joe's attorney. She tells us the law isn't just failing him, it's not working for biological dads either.
Cooked.
Rob Recknagel says he's had trouble eating and sleeping since his son was born.
Every single day that goes by that I don't get to see him, it just gets tougher. I don't know what he looks like.
Rob says he searched online hospital nurseries just to see if he could find his son. He says he didn't know his girlfriend was still married when they got together. Rob says they were planning to blend their families.
And they took the kid. Look at that.
Wow.
Whoa,
Jesus.
that took a turn. Look at that.
Rob bought a ring. But before she gave birth, Rob says he got this email saying although the baby was his, she was going to raise it with her husband.
Oh
demons,
my God.
Man, demons. Guys, you know what? Guys, we're going to log off here in a second. I'm going to open the chat back up, guys. Guys, I want you to put into words how evil this situation is, right? How evil this is. Can you imagine, guys? This is perfectly legal.
This kind of leaves you speechless.
So, guys, this guy's doing the right thing. He wants to see his kids, right? He's going to propose because he's a moron, but...
Yeah.
Man, guys. This guy says she had custody for 1 month. I was a single dad for the rest of their 18 years. I never got a dime, and they came after me for $7,000. Wow, look at that. Someone says, men, the game's rigged. Don't even play. Facts. Look at that, guys. Guys, what do you think? Okay? Sum up in the words how evil the situation is.
I'm standing here saying, I want my son in my life. I want to pay child support. Let's sign the proper documents and let me just do
You're
that.
trying to do the right thing.
That's all I want.
What can be done about this?
Nothing.
What can be done about this is people should be more responsible and shouldn't have sex outside of marriage, shouldn't father children outside of marriage, and should think before they act. That's what needs to happen. Could we?
That ain't going to happen. Yeah. Dennis Prager, cuck.
Yeah. TradCon moron. Once again, saying that it's the man's fault, right?
Yeah. Do more. Yes. Could we fine tune it? Yes. Should a father have to pay support on a child when it's not his child? No. So we do need to do more, but we've made some monumental changes.
No, you
Guys,
didn't.
Men, mind your own business. Guys, stay home, play PlayStation. You know? Work on that old Chevelle or that old Mustang that needs to be fixed up. Guys, don't put yourself in the situation because no one's gonna give one goddamn about you. It's gonna be some TradCon moron, or some FNS, or some Jabba-looking judge, right? That's gonna say, "Well, you just need to," or some B-dub. You know what I'm saying? Cooked, guys, cooked.
And start calling people home wreckers who do this too.
Yeah.
You got that's a term that's kind of gone away.
Because they,
but call these women home wreckers because that's what they're doing.
Yep. Because they don't care about the children.
No.
They claim to be
and how sick is it that they live with these lies day in, day out for years and they're fine with it?